Behind closed doors, too many suffer in silence. Too many lives are scarred by violence in the very place that should bring peace, the home. Domestic violence is not love, it is pain. It breaks trust, destroys lives and families, and steals futures. Domestic violence is not a private matter, it's a violation of dignity, and it must end. Because hitting a woman does not make you a man, but correcting her in love and staying in peace with her is God's plan. Together, we can raise our voices, protect the vulnerable, and rebuild lives. Say no to silence. Say no to fear. Say no to domestic violence. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
Word of Life Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
So today I'm going to talk about fear. First Kings chapter 19, verse 1. Ahab went home to report Elijah to Jezebel. You see, Ahab was a worshiper of strange gods. Are you with me? But Jezebel was a shrine herself. She was a witch, but a shrine herself. When a man goes home to go and report his problem to his wife, you know that that wife strong passer. Ahab went home to report Elijah to Jezebel. And in verse 2, Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah. And she said, in my own word, by this time tomorrow, the same thing you did to the false prophets, I will do it to you. The woman, they talk so. He tell the husband, sit down. In verse 3, Elijah was what? Afraid and ran for his life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please wait. This is a man who called fire from heaven. This is a man who killed 850 false prophets. This is a man who kept sending his servant because he said, I hear the sound of abundance of rain. The same man. Now, this same man is running for his life. What is it that happened? The Bible does not tell us anything about the messenger that Jezebel sent. But that messenger was not an ordinary messenger. The messenger came with the spirit of fear and dumped it on Elijah. Now, let me tell you what the problem was. Elijah had let down his guard. He had seen all these great things and he relaxed. Listen to me. Every victory is a raw material for your next battle. Every victory you have is the raw material for your next battle. Because there will be a next battle. Elijah forgot that the battle is never over until it is over. So he relaxed. In that condition, the messenger dumped this spirit. Listen, whatever spirit they are dumping on you, whosoever is sending a wrong spirit to attack you, to trouble your life, to trouble your life, to trouble your life, I come against that spirit. I bind it, I bind it, I bind it, I bind it, and I command you to rise within your spirit in annoyance, in anger. Join me to bind any strange spirit that they try to put on you, wherever it is coming from. I bind that spirit. I command it to go, to go. Everybody say go, 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 go. In the name of Jesus. Go, 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 go. How can such a man run for his life? Oh, something is wrong now. It's not normal. A man that did all these wonders, now running for his life, it's not normal. There are many kinds of fear, but I will deal with three. I will try. Number one is the fear of God. Yes, that's the most important kind of fear. This one is necessary. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 13. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Let us conclude everything about life. The conclusion, fear God and keep his commandments. Why? Look at verse 14. For God shall bring every, how many works? Every work into judgment with every secret thing. Whatever you think is secret, whether it be good or whether it be evil. This is why we must fear God and keep his commandments, because he will judge every single action. You see what we just did here just now? We told you to write paper. Heaven is taking record. Heaven is recording. Look, I'm not talking to make you happy. I'm telling you the truth. Heaven is recording and has recorded everything we did here just now. Nobody can say you did it to make yourself proud or something. We didn't mention anybody's name. How many of you know that heaven knows everybody? Whatever you have done, whatever you didn't do, heaven knows everything. It's recorded. And the Bible says God will judge. When you don't have the fear of God, you think you can get away with some things because you don't fear God. So you do some things and you actually think that it is covered. But you are a fool because you did not create yourself. The man who created you is recording, and the Bible says he will judge. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5, you know these scriptures. Look at what Paul said to Timothy. When I call to remembrance the unforged faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Louise and thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that it is also in you. Listen to me very carefully. When Paul, or the King James Version, talks about faith, it's not talking about faith to receive miracles. It's talking about belief in God. There are people who don't believe that there is God. There are people who believe that there is God, but that they unconsciously think that there are some things God does not know. There are things Satan does not know, but not God. The scripture we read said even secret things. The Bible says the secret things belong to the Lord. So when you do anything in secret, you have put it in his hand. He knows. The fear of God involves attitude. It involves words. It involves works. What you do or what you don't do. The fear of God will show in all these things. Now, let's look at that verse again in the Amplified Version. I am calling up memories of your sincere and unqualified faith. The leaning of your entire personality on God in Christ, in absolute trust and confidence in his power, wisdom, and goodness. A faith that first lived permanently in the heart of your grandmother Louise and your mother Eunice, and now I am fully persuaded dwells in you also. Now, do you see what Paul is saying? He's actually talking about the fear of God. He is saying that Timothy was a young man that had the fear of God.
Welcome to the headquarters of Word of Life Bible Church. the International Gospel Center, a place of wonder, a place of grace, a place of favor, a place of greatness, a place of solution, and a place of God's glory. A family to belong. We don't only care about your soul, we care about your total well-being. We urge you to be a part of this glorious, heaven-bound, blessing on earth family of Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
Behind closed doors, too many suffer in silence. Too many lives are scarred by violence in the very place that should bring peace, the home. Domestic violence is not love. It is pain. It breaks trust, destroys lives and families, and steals futures. Domestic violence is not a private matter. It's a violation of dignity, and it must end. Because hitting a woman does not make her a man, but correcting her in love and staying in peace with her is God's plan. Together, we can raise our voices, protect the vulnerable, and rebuild lives. Say no to silence. Say no to fear. Say no to domestic violence. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
Word of Life Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
The fear of God involves a sincere, unqualified faith. The leaning of your entire personality on God, in Christ, in absolute trust and confidence in His power, wisdom, and goodness. Now, this is what the fear of God is. Everything about you is about God. Can you hear me wherever you are sitting? Yes. If you have the fear of God, everything about you, every decision you make, everything you think, every behavior, every actions and reactions, everything is around God. Even the thief on the cross said to his friend, when the friend was mocking Jesus, he said to him, he said, "You don't fear God?" He said, "We did wrong, that's why we are here." He said, "But this man, he did nothing. This is a thief." Now, let me tell you this. Do you know that there are unbelievers who behave better than Christians? Well, you may not clap your hand. But what I'm telling you is the truth. Yes, there are people who are total unbelievers whose behavior is better than people who say they are Christians and they are in church. It is painful, but it is true that there are unbelievers who fear God more than people who are supposed to know God and fear God. It's a very strange thing. Big error, my dear. 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 10. You know the scripture also, the first part of it. What did Paul say? He said, "Demas has forsaken me." Why? For he loved this present world. He loved this present world. So Demas has forsaken me. This was Demas that was with him, following him everywhere. Suddenly, he abandoned him. He turned his back. He retreated. He went back into the world. But look at the book of Ruth. You know this one too now. Ruth chapter 1, verse 16. When Naomi could not drive her, Ruth said, "Where you go, where you go, I will go. Huh? Is that not what he said? She said? Where you go, I will go. He said, where you lodge, I will lodge. He said, your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. He said, where you die, in verse 17, he said, that's where I will die. He said, where they bury you, that's where they will bury me. The only thing that will separate me from you is death. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those are words. Anybody can talk. But when you study the whole book of Ruth, you will see that she kept her words. Not like Demas. She did not turn back. This woman was from Moab. Did you know that God gave a law that Moabites should not enter the temple? There was a law banning them from entering the temple. But Ruth, God allowed her to enter the temple. Hey, listen. God did not stop there. She became the great-grandmother of David. So David is partly from a nation that was barred by God from entering the temple. And yet, this woman's great-grandson became the king of God's people. Fear this God. Fear this God. Why? Because a woman spoke words and she kept her words. When you fear God, whatever you say with your mouth, you will do with your life. Ruth wiped away tears from the eyes of Naomi. Why is it that we don't have the book of Naomi, but we have the book of Ruth? Naomi was an Israelite. Ruth was a Moabite. Why? Look at it yourself. Look at it yourself. This God is a strange God. But you see, he becomes strange because of your behavior. When Ruth was saying those words, heaven was recording it. And the angels were saying, let us see whether you will do what you have said. She did it. Wiped away tears from Naomi. When she had her child, guess what she did? She carried the child and gave the child to Naomi. I said, take. You are the owner of the child. It's hard for the mind to comprehend. She totally gave herself to this woman. In so doing, she was serving God. Out of the fear of God. Every step she took the permission of Naomi. If Naomi did not permit it, she will not do it. Now, I want you to think. She had friends. She must have gradually made some friends. And they will tell her, what did they do you? You be mumu? Why you go to follow human being like this? I can see her replying, no, I'm not following a human being. I'm following God. The fear of God changes your condition. Give it time. Give it time. You may not look all right today. People may be laughing at you. But fear God. Yes, sir. Fear God. Yes, you are not stupid when you fear God. Yes, fear God. And this God will stand for you. This God will walk for you.
Welcome to the headquarters of Word of Life Bible Church, the International Gospel Center, a place of wonder, a place of grace, a place of favor, a place of greatness, a place of solution, and a place of God's glory. A family to belong. We don't only care about your soul, we care about your total well-being. We urge you to be a part of this glorious, heaven-bound, blessing on earth family of Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright guys, back again, yes boss, my name is Osh Baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up people, it's your boy Victor Adi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
As you know, you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Well, it looks as if there's going to be a whole lot of jubilation in Rivers State, as every indication is that the governor, Simi Fubara, will definitely be reinstated as governor of that very great state. But the question still remains, are we really having peace finally in Rivers State, or is it just for a while? Well, anyway, time will tell. But I need to tell you, welcome to another great time on television is Viewpoint on Atlantic TV, and my name is Michael Gobadia.
And I am Mercy Erabo. Once again, welcome to Viewpoints on Atlantic TV. And you know how we do it right here on Viewpoints. We start with the dailies, the news, the dialogue, and of course, trending. And you know how we do it on trending. Today, we have loads and loads of gist for you. You don't want to miss any of the highlights today, so you have to stay tuned on Atlantic TV. And of course, you know, you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV. Well, we need to go on a quick break, and when we return, it will be the dailies.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Well, the papers is what we're going to have next, right here on Viewpoint. And for review today, we have 4 papers. We'll be having The Guardian to guide us through, the Punch newspaper, The Vanguard, and also The Nation. I will also make a major one today on the dailies. But you do know I always enjoy starting with the Punch newspaper, so Punch we go. And well, anyway, on the Punch newspaper, just like so many others today, emergency rule winner-losers as Tinubu reinstates Fubara. And looking at riders to that, President justifies action as over 40 court cases pending, cautions governor on good governance. And Wike, Rivers will henceforth witness peace and progress. And I know many other persons will be saying hallelujah. 6 months wasted, Rivers elders lament. But anyway, I'll tell you not to lament, but go and get more of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see if we take some other leading story, especially at the top mass. UK-Nigerian bilateral trade hits 16 trillion naira. And this is accredited to the British envoy. But get more of that story on page 18. Cash transfer, federal government pays 330 billion to 8.1 million households. And you can get more of that story on page 23. What you can also get on page 23 is federal government and states and local government shared 2.2 trillion in August revenue. And this is according to FAC. And you do know they are the ones entitled in that very sharing. But anyway, more of a disturbing news is on page 7. SSC NECO probes mass cheating in 13 states. And it's one that's indeed giving a whole lot of Nigerians every reason to be concerned, especially as we're thinking of the future leaders. But let's leave the leaders and come down to the bottom part of the Punch this morning. Federal government votes 300 billion to power and teaching hospitals varsity. It's a major screamer on page 19, and a very sad, unfortunate incident that played out in Lagos. 7 victims confirmed killed in Lagos building fire. Well, that sad story you can get on page 4 and 5 of the Punch. Our heart goes to the families. Federal government returns history to basic school curriculum. And I know Mercy will be excited about that. At least let her, let's know where we are from. But anyway, I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 19. And funny enough, well, jubilation and sadness all mixed in one. 1,000 protests in London over Trump UK visit. And you can see King Charles, rather, excited about his visitor. But I'll tell you not to look at that, but visit that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And funny enough, that's the picture of the day.
All right, let's see what the Guardian has for us this morning. The lead story says doubts or certainty in Rivers power tussle as Fubara returns. Well, that's on page 6 of the paper. At the top mass, Dapman Dangote biker over diversion allegation, 1.5 trillion naira subsidy demands. Well, that's on page 3 of the paper. Ondo poll, Supreme Court dismisses appeal against Ayedatiwa's victory. That's on page 7. World Patient Safety Day, Lagos State government bemoans wastage in healthcare delivery. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's see what we have at the side mass. A federal government says 330 billion naira disbursed in cash transfers to poor households. Wow, this is a good one coming from the federal government of Nigeria. It's on page 5 of the paper. Over 60% of candidates passed 2025 SSE with 5 credits above. Wow, that's a good one. It's on page 29 of the paper. Right at the bottom mass, this is a very sad story. We saw it about 2 days ago. It was really, really sad. Traders count losses as UBA FIRS mourn staff lost in Lagos fire. Well, you can read that very sad story on page 8 of the paper. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association urges strategic monetary policy easing as IMPI projects 17% inflation by year end. That business story is on page 3 of the paper. Anambra Guba, play by rules, Ohaneze tells Soludo, Ukachukwu and Ekunifi. Well, you can read that on page 28 of the paper. And then the picture of the day, well, it still highlights the lead story of the paper, talking about the power tussle in Rivers State and the return to office of this political powers. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Guardian newspaper. Let's see what the Nation has for us. The lead story here says Fubara and Mewule, other lawmakers back in office. And the rider says Tinubu calls for peace as 6 months emergency rule ends. A grand reception awaits a governor. Well, I think I'll be part of that celebration. Well, that's on page 4 and 5 of the Nation newspaper. Let's see what we have just at the top mass of the paper. A 3.14 billion agric investment to boost food security drive. That's on page 27. Adeleke rejects calls to join Aregbesola in ADC. That's on page 8 of the paper. Well, there's a sad one. 10 dead in Lagos Afriland Towers fire. That sad story is on page 8 of the paper. A Supreme Court strikes out Ajayi's case against Ayedatiwa. That's on page 8 of the paper. Let's see what we have at the bottom mass. FAAC distributes record 2.22 trillion naira to fed states and councils. Well, that's on page 6 of the paper. Edzum, we've given 330 billion naira to 8.1 million vulnerable households, and the rider says a distribution based on World Bank data. Yeah, we saw when this money came from the World Bank. Well, that's on page 7 of the paper. APC not part of early campaign, says the chair. Well, that's on page 7. Trump's UK visit attracts a pomp and protest. Well, that's on page 29 of the paper. And the picture of the day is still that of the power tussle in Rivers State. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on The Nation. Up next is the Vanguard.
Well, yes, the Vanguard will be the last paper for us to truly look at today on paper review. And on the Vanguard, just like every other major headlines on other dailies, excitement as Tinubu ends emergency rule in Rivers. And reinstates Fubara deputy and lawmakers. And I'll just let me read some few kickers to that. Says peace has returned. Deputy governor returns. Residents are with governor Ibas. Wike hails Tinubu for saving Rivers. And Pandev calls for sober reflection. Roll out the drums for celebration. INC urges residents. And Tinubu must apologize to Rivers overreach. And this is according to the PDP. But I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see if we take some other stories at the topmost side of the Vanguard. And while federal government pays out 330 billion cash transfer to poor Nigerians, this is accredited to Edu. And anyway, I will not be asking Mercy whether she got the money because she's not on the poor list. But I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 19 of the paper. First state was hit by ozone layer radiation. And well, that's a very scary story is coming from page 12. NECO 2025, Kano tops national performance chart. Well, this will be the first time, and I will be seeing this in almost 3 decades, as Governor Yusuf education reforms bear fruit. And in all honesty, Kano seems to be topping the chart as the most educated, especially in the north. But I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 18. We stand by our statement on Dapman. Dangote Refinery seems to be telling all of us on page 6. But let's see if we take other major leading stories, especially at the bottom side of the Vanguard this morning. Aviation, Nigerian to receive first dry lease after almost 20 years. This is accredited to the Aviation Minister, Festus Keyamo, on page 8. And well, 60, oh wow, that's a very good cheering one. And we're still talking about education itself. 60.26% of candidates score credit passes in English and Maths. And NECO releases result. And I'll tell you, well, that's a citing story you can get on page 8. AFC fault on imposed APC ticket for Tinubu is a major one on page 13. And anti-Trump protests rock London over president visit is also on that page 13. Nigerian UK 16 trillion current trade value, highest ever. And in all honesty, that's true. And it's coming from the High Commissioner of the UK. And you can get that on page 8. Natana breaks a mini case 38-year-old record, zooms into 400-meter hurdles final. And you know it's currently happening in the World Athletic Federation. And well, we're really happy about that. But the picture of the day for us we'll take is our very own. We're talking about the Olo of Warri, His Royal Majesty Ogiame Atuashe III, CFR. He was at the AFCSC in Jaji. And you know, he graced that very occasion. And well, that's the picture of the day on the Vanguard and all we can take today on the papers. But yeah, we do have a whole lot of major highlights, especially as it concerns the dailies this morning. I'll be looking at them quickly just to get an insight on what seems to be. And one that is making the rounds is the issue of the return of Similai Fubara to Rivers. Anyway, remember, we'll be taking that also critically on dialogue as well. We see the return of democracy back to Rivers State after many months that they have been immersed in a whole lot of issues, and we'll be looking at that. But what I also want us to look at, Messi, and what I want to drag your attention into, is the issue of the WAEC. This will be the first time we're having 60.26% pass in English and Maths. Yeah. The last time we ever had any was about 54.234%, and I could still take my mind back to that should be 2016, 2017. But now we're having excellent results as a concern. Do you feel reforms, especially from this very administration, is bearing fruit? Or do you feel now parents are now settling down to really do more as it concerns giving them children quality education and not miracle centers as it used to be.
Okay, and we also saw on the papers that about 13 states were called for examination malpractice. So that says a lot about your question already. So it could be miracle center. We can't say, but the truth is, I feel if they really put in hard work, they can actually get that number of percentage. But the truth is, we actually saw it that over 13 states were caught for examination malpractice.
But,
So
but
I really
don't
hope
you
it's
feel
not.
the government is now doing more as it concerns dealing with the issue of cheating in examination? Hence, they are coming out to say 13 states were caught. Before now, you rarely hear that we have about 13 states being caught. So don't you feel that is also attributed to the success in the reforms being made by this administration?
Well, it says, but they only caught the ones they were able to catch, right?
Oh,
So that's
Messi
the
always
truth.
have a way of
That's the truth. They only caught the ones they were able to, because when you're saying 13 states, the truth is there are some other states that they won't even find out. I don't think there's any way they'll be able to, because even the officials, the WAEC officials and all of that, most of them, they support this whole thing. I actually saw one center then where they get questions even before the day of the exam. But I thought these questions were just supposed to come sealed and all of that. So that's how you know that there's insider involvement in all of this examination malpractice. So I don't think that even with the reforms, they might still not be able to curb this whole examination malpractice.
You will not blame Messi. She's always in doubt, especially as it concerns policies of the government. But what I know you are not in doubt in is the issue of the money transfers, which I know you never got any alert. That for sure. If you've gotten an alert, I will know, because you take us out if you have ever taken us out. But let's leave me going out. Let's come now to that. 8.1 million poor households.
Yeah.
And I'm only curious to ask, how did they know that these persons were poor? Because if you come to my house, okay, if you go to houses, not my house, let's leave my house, you will rarely know the poverty level of these persons.
Yeah.
We all do know that Nigeria presently has one of the largest multi-dimensional poor persons on the planet.
Yeah.
So my question is, yes, the finance minister came out to say they use a United Nations data that they got, hence they were able to know these people and transfer this cash. But the problem is, do poor people even have cash bank accounts? And I don't know, a whole lot of questions seem not to be answered there. Do you say that Mama Rukewe that sells Banga rice at Oto Junction has a bank account? Or is it an OPO account? I don't know. Would you say Malam Zuberu selling kola nuts around Kano has a bank account? So how were they able to identify these persons and transfer? It's a question that baffles all of us.
Okay, you know, when it comes to all of these government things, I don't like supporting them. But you see, this particular one, when World Bank released this money, they said they were giving it to vulnerable communities like the northern part and the eastern parts of the country. So I feel they went to those places. But I tried calculating this money, and I feel, okay, they are going to transfer about 25.
Calculating the money.
Yes, 25,000.
We are talking about the money went, you are calculating.
Yes, 25,000 naira to each household. Let's take, for instance, how is 25,000 naira supposed to curb poverty? How is it supposed to eliminate the hunger in this household? 25,000 naira will not even buy a bag of rice, not even quarter bag of rice. So how is this supposed to still eliminate this poverty? That is my own question. I don't care how they intend to give it to them, but the truth is, was it
able to deal with the issue
with the same issue that made World Bank release this money? Will it still be able to curb this, eliminate this hunger and all of that? That is my own question. But how they decide to transfer the money, I don't care. But I just know that I didn't receive it, and I am not one of the average class, not even middle class.
The last time I checked,
so I think I am still at the.
There, so that I know. So don't bother about that. We know your name is not there.
So I'm surprised that I didn't get the money too, but it's fine. It's okay.
Well, anyway, before she laments and cry about it, I need us to leave that story and come to another major story that is making the round. And it looks as if the issue of Dangote and that man is not going anywhere anytime soon. Who distributes fuel? Why should he be taking it directly to the consumers, especially the marketers? It seems to have lingered for too long and is also in the news. When are we going to have a resolution of this problem between Dangote and other major critical stakeholders in the oil sector? It's a big question.
The thing is, Dangote, I feel Dangote actually mean well for Nigeria. But I don't know, I don't know how to put this, but the truth is, I really do not want to talk into this much because we are doing this today on trending. Okay. So I don't want to start saying exactly. I don't want to let the cat out.
But I know she has a lot
one of the stories
that.
we have on trending today is Dangote saying that his staff earns more than graduates. Wow. So this is one reason he doesn't want his staff to even unionize, join the NUPENG and all of that. So, and I don't know why NUPENG is not saying this. If you mean well for the staff, then you should understand this part of Dangote saying his staff, they do this, they do that, and he doesn't want them to unionize. So Dangote is saying he wants to distribute fuel to directly without all of these middlemen and all of that. I think he actually means well for Nigerian. But why is that man still trying to drag the whole thing is what I don't know. But I just want them to resolve all of this amicably. It shouldn't affect us. We don't want any situation whereby they will have to go on strike again and we'll start battling with getting fuel and all of that. They should just try as much as possible to resolve this amicably. That's my point on. So you don't want to miss trending today because we'll go deeper on trending.
Well, anyways, she doesn't shy away from really going deep as it concerns trending stories. And you might just be amazed. We might be trending later ourselves. But anyway, we'll not trend away from it, but rather go on a break now. And do remember, our dialogue will definitely take center stage around the hour. And the news will come, but just like she has given a little glimpse without letting the cat out of the bag yet, trending will definitely wrap things up on Viewpoint today, and I know you'll be more than happy to be a part of it. You always understand that Viewpoint, what our intentions are, is to make your morning truly enjoyable. And there's every possibility that if you have a great morning, you might end up having a great day. So that's what we do. But what we'll do now is go on that break and we'll come dialogue with you next.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Niger Celebrity Type Man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
As you know, you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Bible Church, bigger, stronger, and bolder.
The second fear I want to talk about is the fear that you may have that somebody else is better than you, or that somebody else will be better than you. Yeah. It's a fear. It's a fear that comes out of complex. You fear. And this fear, Stanley, you know what it does? It produces envy and jealousy. When you are afraid that somebody is going to be better than you, or somebody is better than you, the next thing that happens, that fear will transform into envy and jealousy. Songs of Solomon chapter 8 verse 6. Within that verse, I have used it many times. It says that jealousy is as wicked as the grave. Because jealousy will transform into anger. When people are jealous of you, after a while, they become angry with you. Be careful. When anger comes, eventually anger becomes murder. Yeah. The anger transforms into murder. It could be physical murder, it could be spiritual. It could be environmental murder. In the sense that you start destroying somebody who did you nothing because you are just afraid that the person is better than you or the person will be better than you. Look, what I'm telling you is the truth. I've been in this world for a while and I know what happens to people. Some of you are listening to me. Some of you have this problem in you. Some of you, there are people who are pursuing you and you don't even know they are pursuing you. Because they are looking at you and they feel you are better. And it is even possible that you are actually not better. Did you see? But they just have this feeling that you are better. Some just have the feeling that this one is going to be better. So they go after you. They start talking rubbish. They open their mouth and they talk. They castigate you. They malign you. They spoil you. Sometimes they spoil what you are doing. It begins with a kind of fear. That the fear say you go better past them. Yes. Next week I will come to that. They're afraid. They see you as a threat. Yes. They look for ways to attack you. To pull you down. They begin to go around talking evil. What do you think happened to Cain and Abel? Do you think the problem of Cain and Abel began with offering? No. The thing had been on ground. The thing started with the fear that Cain had. Do you know the meaning of Cain? Possessed. Yes. That's the meaning. Cain means possessed. So the problem had been on ground. Cain had this fear that Abel will do better than him. He was already scheming. Then the offering thing came. Now that one spoiled everything. So in his mind, he said, "I'm not come." That is why when you read verse 6, you will see God asked Cain. He said, "Why are you angry?" Sorry. You don't say, "Why are you angry?" And when some of these people are angry, you will not know. They are smiling, but they are angry. They are laughing, but they are angry. They shake your hand, but they are angry. They hug you, but they are angry. anyone that is actually against you, that is pretending to be with you, I speak against them. I stop them by the Spirit of God. I overturn them by the power of God. I come against them by the power of God. In the name that is above every other name. Let them go and leave you alone. Let them eat the dust and leave you alone. Let them eat the dust and leave you alone. If you believe me, let me hear your amen like fire. They go from native doctor to native doctor. Then they go church. Do you know? Somebody sent a video to me. Probably about, I don't know, almost a year ago. I don't know. I don't know if anybody saw this video. Look, I have seen some things that shocked me, but this one shocked my bones. Two friends were walking in a place where they make block. Block. They were not the people making the block. They were just laborers. Stay with me. Their job was to carry the block from where they made them to a place where it is arranged. Are you with me? Are you sure you are with me? Please stay with me. Stay with me. I beg you. I was shocked. Listen. Not knowing that one of them was actually angry with his friend. But they were friends. I saw in the video, they didn't see, this man didn't know that there was a CCTV in the place. He was laughing with him, joking with him. After they have carried block for a while, and his friend was not looking, he carried one block and broke his head. And the man died on the spot. He killed him. The CCTV recorded it. That is how they found out.
Welcome to the headquarters of Word of Life Bible Church, the International Gospel Center, a place of wonder, a place of grace, a place of favor, a place of greatness, a place of solution, and a place of God's glory. A family to belong. We don't only care about your soul, we care about your total well-being. We urge you to be a part of this glorious, heaven-bound, blessing on earth family of Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, Wednesday, lifted the 6-month state of emergency rule he declared in Rivers State and directed the suspended governor, Sim Fubara, his deputy, Ngozi Odu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly to resume today, Thursday, September the 18th. Mr. President, in a statement, said his decision to lift the state of emergency was predicted on the fact that peace has returned to the state. He said that his initial intervention, along with other well-meaning Nigerians to resolve the conflict, proved abortive, as both sides remain rigidly entrenched in their position and to the detriment of peace and the development of the state. Hence, his decision to put in place emergency rule in the state. President Tinubu, however, stated that based on the intelligence available to him, there was a ground of a new spirit of understanding, a robust readiness, and also a potent push for all critical stakeholders in Rivers State for an immediate return of democracy rule. Hence, he needed to ensure that. Consequently, he said he did not see why the state of emergency should exist a day longer than the 6 months he has pronounced at the beginning of it. But the big question on dialogue today is, with the reinstatement of Governor Fubara and the members of the State House of Assembly bring a new chapter of harmony back to the state? Will the power play not later resurface again, or have all, and I really mean all parties, learned their lessons? Well, this and more is what this edition of Dialogue will be centered on. And we're looking at the return of democracy, and we're talking about democratic governance in Rivers State after that 6 months period that state of emergency was declared, with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday saying there's every cause for him to reinstate the governor, his deputy, and the State House of Assembly back to their position. Well, like I said, in our paper review, that's what's taking center stage today. Also on Dialogue, we'll be looking at all the issue as it concerns. Hence, the end of emergency rule in Rivers State is what this edition of Dialogue is all about. And to truly help us talk about this is no other person, a politician, or the candidate for the House of Assembly, State House of Assembly in the last 2023 election under the Labour Party, and indeed a politician and also a civil society organization, Fortified Foundation. And we're talking of no other person, but he said I should call him Mr., but we do know his comrade, Clem Odukwe. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, good morning and thank you.
Now, I just want us to quickly go into it, because on March 18, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared the state of emergency, he was invoking Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution as amended that gave him the full powers to indeed collapse the governance in that very state. And also, we do know that while he necessitated the state of emergency, there was total collapse of governance, there was fragmentation of the State House of Assembly. We had about 4 in one side, 21 or 27 in the other side, and all of that, there was also heightened tension because we saw a breakdown of law and order in that very state. So my question now, in your own assessment, do you feel all of these issues that we saw that accumulated to the issue of the declaration of state of emergency, do you see all of that finally being resolved? And naturally, what is your stand, especially as it concerns the reinstatement of Governor Fubara and the State House of Assembly?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be talking about this very much important topic that has to do with the fabric of our democratic, lifestyle as a nation. Anyway, a lot have been said about this state of emergency since it was instituted. I think today is making it exactly 6 months.
Yeah, March 18th to be precise.
The Tinubu-led federal government, instilled, such measures in an attempt to assumably curtail, further occurrences of breakdown of law and order, according to him. I want to say that there is nothing to actually rejoice about, concerning the call-off of the state of emergency. Why I say so is that, over time we have actually debated on this, for the past 6 months when this matter was heated before now. There were a lot of comments, opinions, and I think much have been said. But what we should be looking at is the precedents that have been, on ground, that Mr. President have succeeded in putting on ground. We believe that such, acts by Mr. President, is widely, assumed or is widely opined by the public opinion that it was not democratically carried out. And citing Section 305 of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution, that the president has power to instill a state of emergency when it is necessary. But we have failed to differentiate between a state of emergency that is removing a democratically elected governor by a democratically elected president.
Okay.
You can also, if the need be, you can also call for a state of emergency without removing the president, without removing the governor and the state house of assembly. There are ways to do this, because the challenge that was cited was 100% political. It was not, there was no security threats. Nothing was happening of such. We have had cases from other different states of the Federation where there are killings of scores, thousands of people, houses destroyed, and state of emergency was not called. So why rejoice after you have, given us 6 months of, a catastrophe? The River State people, I think, I'm not from River State, but as a Nigerian and as a public affairs analyst, I think I have the right also to comment. The River State people, what is their pulse? Can they actually come out to say, after these 6 months, we have had it right? Are we actually enjoying progression after these 6 months of, incarceration, or we are actually experiencing retrogression? That is the question in the mouth of every well-meaning Rivers person, and then also Nigerians.
Well, Comrade Clement, let me cut you short there. Are you saying the declaration of the state of emergency was done with a feeling of being political rather than resolving the issues? And you talked about threats. If you could still take your mind back, before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu went ahead with this state of emergency, we saw non-state actors, ex-militants, both in the state and outside the state, making threats of blowing power and oil installations. And we saw them blow two. Number one, they blew the Trans-Niger oil installation. The next day, they also did that of the Omariwa transit oil installation. So, would it be, because if you take your mind back to the reason President Bola Ahmed Tinubu instituted this state of emergency, he made that as a major ground on him invoking Section 305 of the 99 Constitution as amended in declaring it. So, was all really that well in the state? A state that we had two parallel House of Assembly debating, having to put in laws. We had tension rising to its highest level. We had the former State House of Assembly being destroyed to the ground on account of innovation that never came. So would you not say it was right that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had to declare that state of emergency on March the 18th?
Now,
looking at all I've said.
Let's cast our minds back. You made a comment now that there were threats, security threats, to vandalization,
which were later carried out.
That is why you cannot convince a common Nigerian that this thing does not have a political undertone. It does have. Okay, let me tell you something. 6 months, a military era. I want to call it a military era because a sole administrator is a military system of operation. Okay. It is not democratic. Now, in 6 months, was the sole administrator able to fish out these same persons that were claimed to have bombed, pipelines, that were claimed to have been threats to the peace of River State? Were they able to give us a report that, yes, actually, they were persons, these people were not faceless?
But we had no other such explosion of any other pipeline within the 6 months of
that is a pointer that this thing is politically motivated. You see, somebody said something. He said, once insecurity persists in a state more than 24 hours, that goes to show that the government of the day has a hand in it. If it stops, the government already also knows, also has a hand in it. Okay. Now, you see, this whole brouhaha, we tend to leave the major of the issue to talk about the frivolities. What should be a matter of concern is the pulse of the people. 6 months, you were able to alter a democratic process by bringing in a sole administrator. What we should be asking ourselves is that in these 6 months, were we able to achieve what we are supposed to achieve as a state? The reason for instilling these principles were political. And of course, we had a minister who was also part of the reasons why there was chaos in the states. The minister serving under the president. If we are going to also place the hammer on the governor, the State House of Assembly, what about the minister who is assumed or who is perceived to be a masterminder of this process, of the chaos that resulted in this state of emergency?
I will plead with you to hold on. Let's put on the table our main reason for talking about this. Yeah, in all honesty, like you said, everything seems to be political. But we also do know that all the violence that seem to even be perpetrated anywhere in the world, especially even with the recent killing of that very progressive car in the United States of America, is now being blamed on the left, which is also political. Every issue that concerns violence in any democratic setting is always perceived to be political. So you are not far from the truth. But let's return ourselves to the issues that played out before the declaration of the state of emergency. Okay, yes, we know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu instituted a peace deal. I could still remember in December of 2023, funny enough, just immediately after this whole brouhaha, like you said, started off. And the peace deal finally fell apart in October of 2024, after the Supreme Court judgment, declaring that the Martin Emewolo State House of Assembly was the right State of Assembly, and also went further to remove the local government chairmen that were put into office in an election conducted by Fubara himself. Now, there's no gainsaying that, yes, everything seems to be political in the sense of who controls the political structure of the PDP in the state, who also deals with the issue of resources in the state, and he also borders on the issue of loyalty. Those are the three fundamental issues that made all of these problems arose. But my question, let me rephrase it like lawyers will say they rephrase it. My question is, irrespective of whether it was politically motivated or not, was a state of emergency not the right thing to do to indeed reduce the tension in the state as of that moment? That is the question.
The state of emergency is one of the right things to do.
Okay.
But what we are talking about is, was the process, was there due process? Was it democratically carried out? Was the National Assembly involved in the first instance? Because if you study the Constitution properly, you will know that the National Assembly is supposed to have a say. There's supposed to be a report to the National Assembly that will sit over it and then come out with a recommendation to Mr. President. But Mr. President took this decision unanimously and then later referred back to the National Assembly.
Okay.
You know, so that is also why we tend to oftentimes, you know, say that this matter of state of emergency is politically motivated because, you know, the modus that surrounds the administration of the state of emergency, in quick succession, you know, things just happened all of a sudden, and then immediately the government of the day, which is the federal government of the day, sprang into action, and they were able to, you know, stretch out the armor against the governor. Now, that is why I said a state of emergency does not necessarily mean that you are going to disarm a democratically elected government.
So all you were saying, it would have been right if the government was still in
place, and then you continue to broker peace.
But
you
sir,
find out the issues.
Sir, was that not what Mr. President did in the initial stand when in December 2023, he called both parties to the presidential villa and brokered a peace? He did not remove Fubara as of then. He brokered a peace, but when all things seemed to have failed, just only 3 or 4 months into that brokered peace, issues arose again, and there was even feeling of an impending impeachment on Fubara. So would you not say the president also in every way, in all honesty, still exhausted the issue of the olive branch to both of them? But when he saw that there was no peace, he had to wield the big stick and put down the hammer. Was that not the right thing to do?
Well, everything that happened
Yes.
I want to believe that they were mere scripted performance of power. Because
well, anyway, this will not win any Nollywood award, but go ahead.
They are scripted performance of power. That's what I want to put it. Because, you know, you are coming into a roundtable. Of course, the president, like you said, called the various parties, put up
At
a
the
paper,
initial stage.
you know, modalities for agreement. But you also know that this is democracy.
Yes.
You won't have it all your way. There are some of these measures that were stringent. The governor must have had a rethink to say, no, these people are trying to fist me, they're trying to tight me up. The conditions were majorly against the governor and against the, his government. So you do not expect him to just accept everything, whole line and sinker. He is a human being, and he is having the mandate of the people. He has the audacity to defend the mandate, and then he feels that, look, if I agree to all these terms and terms of conditions of acceptance of maybe peace, brokering of peace and all that, if I accept it, it might jeopardize the interests of my own personal interest and then the interest of the state, being the chief security officer of the state. So the president, the governor can also be in power, presiding over presiding over the state, why a state of emergency is, infused into the system.
I've not seen, sorry to cut you, I've never seen whereby a governor is in power and a state of emergency is declared. If we take our mind to the very first state of emergency that was declared during this return of democracy in 1999, it was that of Plateau State when Joshua Diary was governor of Plateau State, and then former President Olusegun Obasanjo needed to institute a state of emergency. But I will not take us back to memory lane because we are presently here.
Was Governor Diary, was he incapacitated? Was he incarcerated?
No, he was not.
He was not incarcerated.
But neither was Fubara. He's coming from London today.
He was incarcerated for 6 good months. Do you know what it means for the government to be, for the...
Sir, he was never in jail or held against his will. He even traveled to London and was supposed to arrive yesterday. Sir, I will plead with you because of time. Can we now progress to the issue? You made mention of him wanting to deal with the issue that concerns his personality. He feels that he was in every way arm twist in the first brokered peace that was instituted by Mr. President. But the question still remains, was he not solely and totally instilled onto the people by Wike? So is it now you gained being a governor, coming on board or with the goodwill of Nyesom Wike in the initial stage, but after a while you felt, well, now I'm a man of my own. Was he not in know that, well, this is how it is, this is how it will be? I won on the ground of, because everybody knew that Nyesom Wike personally handpicked him and made him governor against the wish of critical PDP members in the state. We saw many quarrels broke out on account. We saw Wike going all through the local government in Rivers State campaigning for Fubara. So would you say it was also justifiable that now after getting the power, you now, like we will say, bite the finger that fed you?
This is democracy. This is government. Everything you've just said, I contribute to hearsay.
Okay.
It's hearsay because, the governor was elected by the people.
But handpicked by his godfather.
Well, that is a presumption. Because neither you nor I were there.
Okay.
To back up our claims that he was handpicked. Okay. But nevertheless, what we are saying is that, is he holding the mandate of the people? Yes. And then, you made mention of Minister Nyesom Wike.
Yeah, the FCT minister.
Do you agree with me that he was also part of the problem?
Most certainly.
Now, when this hammer fell, when the president decided to use, he used the carrot and stick approach, it did not work, they decided to use the hammer, right? When the president finally used the hammer, what effect did he have on the minister Wike?
Would you not say his loyalists, especially the Martin Emewulo, State House of Assembly, were also thrown into the dungeons? Because they were not existing then.
They were not existing.
So the hammer fell on him also.
No, the 6 months was nothing to them because they've not even been in government.
Oh, okay, well, anyway,
they've not had contributions.
Forgive me, I set the questions and not the answers. So let's continue on our discussion. Now, let's look at another major issue, and one that has gotten many Nigerians talking, and is the 6 months period of the emergency rule. Now, we do know the sole administrator, Ibas. What would you want to say about his tenure as being sole administrator? Undermining, we now know that many political parties, especially the opposition in the state, is now calling for a full probe of his 6-month tenure as sole administrator. So my question now is, President Tinubu put him there to really dousing the tension. Would you say his tenure as sole administrator was really effective in also quenching this fire before it now burnt down the house?
In the first place, that 6 months administration, in the first place, it's not to write home about. We are not supposed to even discuss it because it is an aberration. It's like, 6 months never existed in the 4 years single tenure of a government according to the constitution. 6 months never existed because there was no report. People were not feeling the impulse of governance. I went to River State over time during the period of the 6 months. The people were not feeling the impulse. There was no positive response from the people. So there's nothing to even talk about in it. And now you talked about probe. This is a government that was instilled or that was imposed on the people. And you expect who to probe them? The same Fubara that you and I know that his hands are already tied by virtue of the fact that he's just a rubber stamp is going to be, he has nothing to contribute to government because before he came into power, they've dissolved the local government council, they've elected new ones, the commissioners are going to be answerable to whoever, the master and the grandmaster. All elective positions have been put on hold, and when he comes in, he's going to be reading a script. Is that the same government that Fubara is going to be administering, and then he will tell me tomorrow that he will be able to probe the 6 months? So which means everything that's happened in the 6 months is going down the drain.
Will it be fair in your utterance now to say the sole administration did not perform during the 6 months? Is that what you are saying?
I don't even want to talk. If we talk
about, can we go back to the record?
We shouldn't talk about performance here because first of all, let us establish the fact that it was an illegitimate government. First of all,
can we go back to the records? Because with all our knowledge here, we tend to always dig deep on dialogue, and we also remember that this same sole administrator was able to get about 55 billion that was spent on ghost workers. He was the one that investigated and got the information.
On papers.
On
were
papers.
There evidences? You are a journalist.
We were able.
Did you do your own research to know if those were facts or they were just on papers?
Was able to discover that scheme of 55 billion that was going annually on ghost workers.
Who were the people that were the ghost workers? Let us have their name published.
That was
so
let's
investigate it.
Comrade Clement, if you allow me. Number two, he was also able to reinstate and refurbish and reform the River State electoral body that was able to conduct that election that saw the newly elected chairman. So within that period of time, and also we do know that during his tenure, there were the political gladiators were not able to flex their muzzle and cause a breach of law and order. Is that not success on the part of their sole administrator?
You see, you talked about the local government elections.
Yes.
Before, at the course of our interactions, I did make mention of the pulse of the people.
Yes.
The people that didn't accept the government. How do you think they are going to respond when the government set policies in place? Like when the government, talked about the local government elections. I feel that more than 80% of Riverians, they were not involved in local government elections. The EBOC sole administrator and the 6 months state of emergency, everything it produced, I'm not seeing any positivity. I'm not seeing how it favored the Riverians. I'm not seeing how it favored our constitution. I'm not seeing how it favored our democracy. I'm not seeing how it favored the so much preached about our fundamental human rights. I've not seen how it favored it. So I don't think it's a government that we have to talk about. Because to me, and I also want to believe that I'm speaking the mind of a lot of people out there, this 6 months administration is not among the 4 years tenure as constituted or as recommended by the constitution of a governor.
Okay, well, anyway, whether he feels that way or not, we're still talking about the issue today. And we're looking about the return of democratic governance, especially in Rivers State, knowing that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just yesterday ensured that there will be a return of democracy, especially democratic rule in that very state. But what we'll do now is go on a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion centered on the return of democratic rule in Rivers, especially knowing that Governor Simi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu and also the Martin Emewule State House of Assembly are in every way to commence their duty starting from today. Let's go on a break.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Well, we need to welcome you back, and we're still having this discussion on dialogue. And we're talking about the issue of the return to democratic rule in Rivers State, especially after that very nationwide broadcast of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that, well, the state of emergency in Rivers has finally come to an end. If you could still take your mind back, he instituted that very emergency rule on the 18th day of March, and well, and we only ended yesterday. And a full jubilation seems to have erupted in Rivers State at the moment. But anyway, we still have our guest right here. I'm talking of no other person but Comrade Clement Undukwe. And but remember, also we're also now being joined by no other person but Dr. Fine Face Dunamini Fine Face. You'll be joining us all the way from Rivers State, Port Harcourt to be precise, to give us a lowdown on what seems to be happening there at the moment. And let's see if we have him on board. When we do, we'll definitely want to get his view, especially as it concerns what seems to be or happening in Rivers State at the moment. Is the governor finally there? Is the jubilation still happening? And what does he really feel about the whole issue that transpired and also accumulated to the state of emergency just 6 months ago? Let's see if we have him on board. Hello?
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Fineface.
Good morning. Part of the program.
Uh,
Yes, I can hear you. That's the part of the program. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Is the governor in town? Is the jubilation there already started? Are people excited that the governor and his whole cabinet, especially that of the deputy, and also the Martin Emeolo House of Assembly, are people really excited that they are now back in power and doing the needful that they were elected for in the first place?
Yeah, can you hear me now, Mike?
Hello?
Mike, can you yeah, can you hear me now? I can hear you.
Okay, we can, I doubt if we can barely hear you, but can you hear me?
I wonder, yes, I can hear you loud and clear. And I want to commence the analysis of what is
Let's see
happening here,
how we can
you
really,
know, in Rivers State.
because we can barely hear you from here, but I don't know, if you can hear us, I really appreciate if you can just go ahead and tell us the pulse of the people right there in River State.
Yeah, Mike, thank you very much, and nice to be part of the program this morning. And I must tell you that before dawn, moment from 5 a.m., some Rivers people were already at the Rivers State Government House, you know, playing drums, dancing, jubilating, taking pictures, short videos, and sharing everywhere. I must tell you that as we speak, the streets of Port Harcourt are bubbling. A lot of people are dressed in different types of attires and wearing different kinds of clothes. They are dancing, jubilating, playing drums, moving with a musical band, waiting to welcome the governor. We are told that the governor has arrived Abuja from the UK, and at moments from now, they are going to receive him at the Port Harcourt International Airport and then to the River State Government House. So jubilation is on the street by a lot of people that the emergency rule has eventually come to an end. And the governor they elected and that was suspended is resuming office today. So everywhere is bubbling and a lot of people are happy.
Okay, now let me still return you back to the issue that's accumulated to the issue of the state of emergency, because if you do not understand the past or you do not discover, you can never recover. Now, because there's every tendency that many Nigerians are a bit still skeptical about this return of peace, especially with the issue of the declaration of a state of emergency. Now, I want to get your honest assessment. We know all that transpired that led to the issue of the state of emergency when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in every way, invoke that very power, 305 of the Constitution, that mandates him to put a state of emergency. But my question now, are all of those issues truly resolved? Is this going to be just a peace for a while, then we return back to the issue of anarchy, or do you feel what is now in place is going to be a lasting one? Your pulse on it.
Yeah, Mike, I think I would say that the issues are resolved to a very large extent because what led to the emergency declaration in the state was a logjam between the state assembly members who were being teleguided by the FCT minister who brought all of them to power. And as a result of that, it was difficult for governance to take place.
Okay.
It was difficult for the governor to present the appropriation bill of the state and have it passed.
Yeah.
It was difficult for the state assembly to even sit and carry out their function because they were factionalized. 4-man assembly was working with the governor, while the other 27-man, 26-man assembly were on the part of the FCT minister and working against the governor. So you also have the issue of, speakers, in the two assemblies and passage of budget within hours. Together, Supreme Court gave judgments mandating the governor to work with the larger assembly. The governor attempted to present the state appropriation bill to them at the assembly, but the governor to come in, and the governor not come into the office, present it to them. It was out, and it was difficult for not to present appropriation bill to them. There was a lot of lockdown in that area. You see, in the issue of oil facility in the state, which was blamed on the governor's supporters, So while the sole administrator, through the emergency rule, have been able to address some of these things, which I call the separation of political fights, which the emergency rule played in Rivers State, all the parties were asked to stay away, and they all stayed away. The assemblies were out of office, the governor was out of office, the deputy was out of office, and everything about those democratic structures were suspended. And then you have the sole administrator coming in to perform his duty as a sole leader of the state, performing legislative, executive, and of course, other functions.
Yeah.
Judiciary was functioning. And then he transmitted the budget to the National Assembly through the committee and through Mr. President, and it was passed, and he started governing the state. So for these 6 months of recess of the suspended leaders of the state, they have learned their lesson. Coming back today, I believe that they should work together and ensure that they do not go back on the old path that led to the emergency rule declaration. There is nothing stopping Mr. President to declare a new emergency rule before 2027 if they return to the path of and led the declaration of the emergency rule that just ended yesterday, being the 17th day of September.
Okay, now, Dr. Fineface, I'll still be with you before we come back to our guest here. Now, you talked of everybody learning their lesson. And many Nigerians will say it looks as if it's only the governor that learned his lesson. Because many felt maybe he was twist, just like our guest in the studio feel, especially as it concerns now respecting his perceived godfather, Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister. Now, my next question also seems to be making the round, especially on social and main media, and is the issue of the governor now also being told to go to the APC. We saw the PDP coming out yesterday to say, well, if that happens, there will be every need for them to go to court. Now, my next question, I don't want to sound a bit into the future, and permit me not to look like, but do you see the governor going to the APC at the end of the day? And do you feel that that was part of the deal?
Yes, I feel that was part of the deal. And I see the governor going to APC. That is very clear. Because already, like I mentioned earlier, or maybe in my previous TV program before I came here, the governor's LGA is currently controlled by APC. So the chairman of the LGA had APC. He will be there to prepare a place for him. So the next thing you are going to see is the defection. And the PDP saying that they are going to go to court. How are you going to court? There is enough crisis in Rivers State to warrant the defection of the governor of Rivers State. We are already seeing that clearly. We are already seeing that is going to happen. But the twist to this and the sweetest part of it is that while the APC is dragging the governor to come to them, the APP is also dragging the governor to come to them. In fact, the APP that the governor used to achieve the council chairman that was dissolved. Yes, that particular political party had already offered the governor the governorship ticket in 2027. That on their platform is going to be able to run. Because as we speak, there is no guarantee that even if Fubara defects from the PDP to the APC, that is going to have the APC's governorship ticket in 2027. That is not guaranteed at all. Because the governor is already extreme with his political benefactor and his godfather. They believe that it's a betrayer, he cannot be trusted, and is someone that cannot be given power and money. So putting all of this together, I think that the defection is very clear. And the governor is coming to office now to be weaker than how he was before the emergency rule was declared. Because the new terms and conditions given to him are worse than the ones that were given to him before he was given the tickets to become the governor of Rivers State. So he's coming to be there as governor, and the fanfare associated with it, take home his salary, drive the vehicles, have all the security he wants and all of that. But to perform and have the of the governor under the Constitution of Nigeria 1999 as altered, this coming governor today is not going to have and be able to exercise that power. He will have to make phone calls to Abuja, clear with the FCT minister before he can take even the least action. What we even expect him to do shortly after he resumes office today is to submit the list of commissioners to the State Assembly for appointment. When that happens, I tell you that the list of commissioners that is even going to submit, I can allegedly let you understand that it's already been prepared and presented to him. Everything is just very clear. So he is coming on the mandate of the FCT minister to perform whatever he's asked to do, because it was on those terms and conditions that he came into power when he was elected in 2023.
Well, anyways, I could see our guest here just really shaking his head. But anyway, I'm now, if you feel that's what will happen, then I'm really surprised about the jubilation that seems to be happening in Port Harcourt. Right? Because if that's the notion that many persons do have, that he's just going to be more of a rubber stamp governor, then I wonder what the jubilation is all about. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just quickly add that the jubilation you see on the street are from those who were benefiting from the governor while he was there before the suspension.
Okay.
And during the 6 months of a break that was given to them, those little stipends and benefits they normally get from the government were not being given to them. So now that the governor is returning, there is the tendency that those their benefits will be restored. So those who are within the purview of his political family are those who are on the street jubilating. Those who will benefit from his coming to office are those who are jubilating. And those who are also happy that democratic structures are now returning in Rivers State are also jubilating. So you have a shade of all of these people on the street. You have more women on the street than men. I must tell you this.
Well, anyway, if the women can smile on account of money being given to them by their husbands being close to the governor, well, anyway, there's every reason for us to also be happy with them. But anyway, thank you, Dr. Five-Face, Dunamini Five-Face. I'll plead with you to hold on. Let's come to our guests in the studio. Comrade Clem, I know you've been shaking your head all through all he said, but let's look at it. There's still jubilation in the air, but would he be a rubber stamp governor is the question.
Of course, he's going to be a rubber stamp governor. My friend over there.
Oh, he's a friend now?
Yeah, he's a friend.
Okay.
Dr. Fineface. He did make mention. He said the 6 months was a recess. That is in confirmation of what I've been saying. It's just a recess. It's just a break. Now, the question now is, if the governor is going to take over power today, just like the president declared late yesterday, is he now going to take a fresh oath of office?
Okay.
That is another question, because when the democratically elected governor, which is Sim Fubara, was shown the way out, like my friend said, I want to agree to his line, say it's recess. The sole administrator was, he swore to a oath of office. And now somebody is living there, he is living there, and Fubara is going back to his to assume his democratic office. Is he now going to take a fresh oath of office? Is that not an aberration to our constitution? Is that not a wrong precedent that has been set? Now, I want to read, when the president made his declaration of calling the various parties back to power, which is the governor, state house of assembly, and all other factors of government, somebody, he placed it on his social media handle, and a well-meaning Nigerian, I want to call him well-meaning Nigerian, he made a submission under it. He said, Mr. President, this your statement marking the end of the state of emergency in Rivers State cannot whitewash what remains a blatant assault on Nigerians' democracy. The suspension of a democratically elected governor and legislature under the guise of constitutional order was neither lawful nor justified. Section 305 of the Constitution does not give the president the power to remove elected officials. It allows for emergency measures, not executive overreach. What occurred was a dangerous precedent, a federal intervention in what was essentially a political disagreement, not a breakdown of public order. For 6 months, the people of Rivers State were denied the leadership they chose at the ballot box. No amount of posturing today can undo that harm. You hold the people, not a declaration, but an apology.
Well, anyway, if that's his own view, I will plead with you to hold on. Dr. Fineface, Dunamini Fineface, I guess you're still there with us.